Now, my most recent fantasy football Super Bowl experience, my team put up a total of 253 points, but my opponent scored a total of 315 points. As you can see, it was not a very close match. The reason being is because he had Peyton Manning, who had the best statistical season for a quarterback in NFL history. Now, what does all this nonsense even mean? 253 points, 300 points? In a moment, I'll describe to you where these points come from. Fantasy football has been around since 1963. Started by a group of ordinary guys in Oakland, California. Now, they did not have the luxury of technology as our generation to keep up with all the numbers and stats, but the concept is still the same. Now, in a moment, I'll begin the steps of how you begin and manage your NFL fantasy football team and league. Now, the main idea is to rack up as many points each NFL week in a season and eventually make it to the championship and bring home the trophy. Now, step one, start by drafting players. You first begin by setting up a draft order and allowing them opportunity to draft a single NFL player of their choosing. The idea is to base your choosing off of previous year stats, projections, and point systems. Now, these point systems I'll explain in step 2. But all throughout the year, there are all sorts of stats and projections that each player will produce in the next season. And you have to keep up to date with the injuries, trades that NFL teams make with one another, their actual draft, their record, there's a lot that goes into it. Now, another thing you can do is research what analysts post to ESPN.com and certain blogs from Twitter or Instagram, things like that, are also good strategies. Now, back to the league. For our league, for the draft, each person, which for ours there's only 10 people, and each person gets 15 players of their choosing. Now, once one player is chosen, he can't be chosen on another team. So once he's chosen, he's taken for good. But each person, for their starting players, gets a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, flex, defense, kicker, and 6 bench players. Now we're going to talk about the point system. There are many different ways to set up your point system, thousands of different ways. ESPN, Yahoo, and many other websites, including phone apps for you to keep up with it on the go, allow you to create your league to your specification. Now, for our league, the point system goes, for each touchdown scored on offense, you get 6 points. You get 1 point every 10 rushing yards or passing yards for a wide receiver, tight end, or running back. Quarterback gets 1 point every 25 yards passing. Every wide receiver, tight end, and running back gets 1 point every reception is made as well. Also, if a defense comes up with an interception or a fumble recovery, that's 2 points for your defense. Now, if one of your offensive players has an interception and a fumble, that's -2. Now, for your kicker, you get 3 points for a field goal and 1 point for an extra point. And keep in mind, because of technology nowadays, all points are updated live on the internet, on your website, and on your phone apps. So as soon as a touchdown is scored, as soon as you have 10 yards, it's updated right away. So you know how many points that you have. Now I'm going to talk about trading and manage your team mid-season. Managing your team during the regular season is probably the most important part of fantasy football if you want to win. You have to keep up to date on injuries, opponents that you will be playing in the future, and possible free agents to pick up that could become good players in the future. Also, very important strategy is trading with other opponents. There, for example, you might need a running back. Your running backs are not looking good, and someone else has a bunch of running backs that they could give up, but they could use a receiver that you might have plenty of. So you can make a trade for him to give you players, and you can give him a player or two, so it works out for both of you. Now, that is how fantasy football works. And if you're like me and you get excited every year about NFL football and you've not played fantasy football, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to compete with your friends and escape from reality. Now, there's a lot of pride when winning a league, and trash talk is highly encouraged. Now, for our league, we like to have a trophy presented to the winner and possible side bets, a little gambling, but I won't get into that. So, next year, do your research, get people to join your league, and get ready to enjoy some fantasy football.